One business owner defiant in the face of pressure from the county to follow public health orders. How he's responding. Sheriff's Department, meanwhile, says it's prepared to start cracking down on non-compliant businesses as the spike in cases in San Diego continues. And when we could see the very first vaccines begin to be rolled out in the U.S., ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
Welcome this midday. Great to have you with us. I'm Jim Patton, and I am joined remotely by my co-anchor Virginia Cha and 10 News meteorologist Megan Perry. Great to see both of you, and we'll be with you very shortly. Happening today, a group of local businesses getting their day in court as they push back against the state and local restrictions. They're suing to allow businesses to continue to operate indoors despite the purple tier restrictions. The plaintiffs include some businesses that have gotten warnings or cease and desist orders for defying the public health orders. While many businesses have moved outdoors, some say it's unsustainable for this long, and the financial burden and the cost of the business, it could just ruin them. The hearing for an injunction starts at 1:30, and we expect to have the judge's decision later this afternoon. One business that we've been following is now defying the latest restrictions. The owner of Pine Valley Diner says he can't move outdoors during the winter. He and the county now reaching an impasse. Officials warning he could face thousands in fine, but he says he's not going to budge. ABC 10 News reporter Vanessa Paz has more.
Despite being one of 7 restaurants who received a cease and desist letter from county officials this week, Larry McNamer, owner of Major's Diner, said he will not back down.
Well, this is what courts are for, and I'll fight it. I will fight it.
Even with a letter in his face stating he could be looking at a $1,000 fine for each violation under the state's purple tier restrictions, which includes not allowing guests inside, Larry McNamer is unfazed.
It could be $50,000. I don't care because I can't afford to pay it. So I couldn't pay it if I had to.
And it all boils down, he said, to survival and what he thinks is right as a business owner in an uphill battle with the county and the state.
They're going to have to be a lot more fair about how they're doling this out and understand we have 0 cases up here.
As he continues to serve up hot plates inside, he said nothing changes when it comes to safety measures given by the state.
Where they're doing everything right. They're keeping the tables are far away. They have outdoor dining.
Mark and his wife came to grab a bite to eat Friday morning, not because Major's was the only diner open.
We saw that they were in trouble and they needed assistance, so we came up to support them.
They came out after seeing Larry on 10 News.
We don't eat out that much, but I think we're going to start out eating more just to support these restaurants.
We asked Mark if he thought customers supporting restaurants who defy public health orders are contributing to the problem of COVID case rates surging as restrictions continue to grow.
Show me the data that shows that these are the sources of community spread. And the data that I've seen doesn't show that.
And Mark's not the only one behind Larry's decision.
I've been getting postcards and letters in the mail from people I have no idea who they are saying, keep it up, don't stop. It empowers you. It lets you know that you're doing the right thing.
Vanessa Paz, ABC 10 News.
Well, meanwhile, county officials continue to warn businesses that they need to comply with the restrictions. Yesterday, the county sending out 3 more cease and desist letters, and they've sent warnings to more than 40 businesses so far this week since San Diego moved into that purple tier. Virginia?
Thank you, Jim. And the San Diego Sheriff's Department says they will enforce public health orders and crack down on those who don't comply.
This is a significant problem, and enforcement action will be taken.
Sheriff Bill Gore says enforcement will start with businesses. He says 4 teams comprised of 2 deputies each will work on this full time. Now, they will be reaching out to cities across the county and their police departments on ways to enforce these curfew guidelines. And if they don't join in, he says that's when deputies will deal with this and issue citations. Now, that is coming as the governor makes changes to the current restrictions, now imposing a limited stay-at-home order on counties in the purple tier. Of course, that includes San Diego County. Starting tomorrow, residents of those counties are being asked to stay home from 10 p.m. to 5 in the morning. That also means private gatherings must end by 10 p.m. It lasts through December 21st, and there are exceptions. So what are those things you can still do during those hours? That includes going to the grocery or drugstore walking your dog, ordering takeout, or going to your job if you're an essential worker. Now, all of these restrictions are coming as we see a spike in coronavirus cases across the country, the state, and also here in San Diego. So let's give you the latest numbers. 900 new cases reported yesterday. That's the 6th straight day the county has recorded more than 700 cases in a day. About a month ago, San Diego was hovering between 2 and 4% daily positivity rate. Well, in the last week, that has bounced to between 4 and 9%. Jim?
Well, Virginia, the tourism industry in San Diego has taken a hard hit because of this pandemic, and now that the CDC is asking people to stay home for the holidays, businesses in the industry are preparing for another blow. ABC 10 News reporter Marie Coronel shows us how businesses plan to move forward.
Since the pandemic hit, research shows San Diego has lost $4.6 billion in tourism money. And business owners were hoping that would change over the holidays. But with the recent travel restrictions that are now in place, they don't believe that will happen.
We expected a huge Thanksgiving and Christmas holiday visitation.
Last week, Governor Newsom joined neighboring states Oregon and Washington in issuing a travel advisory asking people to self-quarantine if they've traveled out of state or out of the country. This comes as the CDC is also urging people not to travel over the holidays, but instead stay at home. Bob Roush, who is a hotel owner, says this won't just hurt his business, but San Diego's tourism in general, which he says is an important part of the city's economy.
Even if you don't work directly in the industry, you likely are getting the benefits of tourism.
Grim news for business owners who were trying to keep their doors open.
But I don't see any good news for the next 6 months because it's not our peak season. There are no corporate travelers coming because of all the restrictions. There are no groups allowed in the state. And leisure travelers are now being told stay home. And that was our only business.
Economists predict it will take about 5 years for San Diego's tourism to recover. Reporting from home, Marie Cornell, ABC 10 News.
And today, PFIZER putting in a request with the FDA for emergency use authorization to push its vaccine development into the next phase. Trial results show Pfizer's vaccine 95% effective. Pfizer also says its vaccine poses no serious safety concerns. Moderna not far behind. Their version is 94% effective, according to the company, and they are expected to apply for emergency use authorization in the coming weeks. If approved, Pfizer could begin a limited vaccine rollout next month, maybe summer, before a vaccine is widely available to the public.
Well, the Georgia recount reconfirming the results from earlier this month. President-elect Joe Biden winning that state. President Trump, though, reportedly looking into new ways to overturn the election results. ABC's Alex Perche has details.
Unprecedented. President Trump using the power of his office to attempt to persuade Republicans in a key state to overturn the will of the voters in the election and select him instead. President Trump inviting the two top GOP state lawmakers from Michigan to the White House. It's a state Joe Biden won by more than 150,000 votes, and where the results are due to be certified Monday. Earlier this week, two Republican officials in Michigan's largest county of Wayne tried to block certifications of the vote, which included Detroit, a majority black city which voted overwhelmingly for President-elect Biden. Trump's legal team has made plain they're pursuing a strategy of convincing several Republican-controlled state legislatures to invalidate the will of their voters and choose electors who would vote for Trump when the Electoral College meets in December. Michigan's Secretary of State blasted the move.
It's certainly improper for any candidate on either side of the aisle to attempt to interfere with or obstruct a process that is very well ingrained in the law.
But the president's Republican allies are refusing to condemn the move that experts say undermines American democracy. This morning, Georgia announced the results of its hand count audit, certifying Joe Biden as the winner.
As Secretary of State, I believe that the numbers that we have presented today are correct.
Joe Biden's incoming White House becoming increasingly frustrated that the General Services Administrator, Emily Murphy, has not yet signed off on Biden's win, which means the necessary transition resources are being blocked.
And there is no excuse not to share the data and let us begin to plan.
Now, House Democrats are giving Murphy until Monday to explain the delay, saying she has no conceivable argument to deny Biden won the election. In courtrooms across the country, at least 16 of the president's legal challenges have now hit a wall. Still, a new Monmouth University poll finds that 3 out of 4 Republicans now doubt the fairness of the 2020 presidential election, even though there's no evidence of widespread voter fraud. Alex Prochet, ABC News, Washington.